Hey, welcome in everybody. Dave Celentano here with Guitar Tricks and our Wednesday night classes. Tonight, I'm excited to introduce week one of 7 weeks for beginning blues guitar. So, if you're a beginning guitar player and you like the blues, this class is for you because I'm going to start out tonight on week one. We're going to do some really simple stuff, showing you the basic chords, the outline for the 1-4-5, and all that kind of stuff. And another good thing for some folks that might be just starting out, if you got just an acoustic guitar, everything we're doing tonight that's in the curriculum, you can do in your acoustic guitar as well. So go ahead and check it out. If you expand the text that's underneath the video here on YouTube you're watching, you'll see a blue URL link for the curriculum. You can print that out. It's 2 pages. It's called Beginning Blues Guitar Week 1. So let me just welcome everybody in. And I was going to start off the night with a little jam over a backing track. But before I do that, let me just see who's here. We got David. All right. Quotes from Albert King's song, Born Under a Bad Sign, that Eric Clapton and Creamery did too. All right, cool. Steve's here. All right, good. Dennis, all right, cool, from Quebec, cool. Terry Lee Bailey, hey, John. A lot of the usual suspects. Jim Gregory, all right, cool. It's good to see you here. Richard, all right, cool. Looking forward to learning the blues. All right, Richard, well, you come to the right place. I'm going to start out real slow, and each week we'll get a little more challenging. And I'm also going to share some lessons that are on the Guitar Tricks site as well with everybody, too. So hopefully, if you remember, great, you'll be able to access the links. If not, go ahead and see if you can sign up. I believe they've got deals going on. I know they've got a money-back guarantee. I don't want to say exactly what deals they go on because I don't know how long their offers go for, but they always seem like they got something happening. All right, cool. Chris, hey, Chris, good to see you. Really look forward to this series. So thanks, Dave. Unfortunately, it's the middle of the workday in Australia. Yeah, no worries, Chris. You can catch it anytime. Glad to just have you here. And even if you're watching it after the fact, you can always do that. Steve, all right, cool. Matthew, all right, from Edmonton. Wow, a few folks from Canada, above the border, north of the border. Barry, all right, cool. And then Peter from Sydney, Australia, another Australian. Cool. Got some Australians and some Canadians, along with, someone from Brazil too, South America. Mauricio, cool. And Zane, what's happening? Andres, cool. All right, folks. Hey, so real briefly, let me play this backing track. I'm going to jam a little blues lead guitar. We're not going to get into that today, but just to give everyone, whet your taste buds for what you can do with the blues. So I've got tuned up, got my Les Paul, got a little Blues Junior setting on my Axe effects with a tube screamer. So get a nice kind of crunchy, not too crunchy, but nice, good tone for the blues. I'm going to play a backing track, folks. I'm just going to start out playing over it, and you let me know if the backing track is not loud enough. And if it isn't, I will start over again and crank it up. So I'm only going to play for about 10 seconds. Okay, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Oh. Okay, so a little sample there. You can't download the tabs, Dave. Yeah, Dave, you just got to try to, print them out. It's a blue URL link that's on underneath the video there. Steve's saying can't hear the backing track. All right, let me crank that puppy up. I'm going to give take 2, and then Steve, pipe in again and let me know if you can hear it, all right? And I'm trying to keep my guitar down kind of low. Okay, let's give it one more shot here. And this is my first time playing to a backing track with this system on YouTube, so I should probably try to do a sound check beforehand, but I didn't yet. But let's give this a shot here. So let me try that whole shebang again, folks. Here we go. Okay. Mark says no back, can only hear the guitar. Still not listening. Can't hear backing track and solos very muted and warbly. It's probably just because everything's kind of loud. Well, yeah, let me just, let's see what we got here. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and jam over it, and you guys will catch my guitar. I'm going to turn the backing track back down a little bit so I can hear it, and you get the idea, all right? I'll deal with this another time. I don't want to waste your time on this. Okay, so here we go. 2, 3, 4. All right, anyway, just a little blues solo, folks, over the backing track. Sorry if you couldn't hear it. Kind of hear Stormy Monday. Yeah, a little just paraphrasing some of Dwayne Allman's licks in the first solo. Exactly, Lynn. Good ear there. Dogs are running. Right on. Sounds like a voice box. Interesting. Okay, well, I'll work on that. Tom, I'm not plugged into a P-trap. Nope, sorry. Wow, okay. Okay, let me turn off. Okay, I turned off the tube screamer. Maybe that's better. All right, cool. Yeah, it was a tube screamer on top of that. So at the end of the lesson, I'll play it again without the tube screamer so everyone can kind of hear that tone. Okay, so let's get on with what we got here, folks. All right, cool. Yeah, the tube screamer. See, that's the problem, folks. A lot of guitar players like to use a lot of distortion, and it kind of makes the tone a little mushy. It didn't sound mushy here in my room, but if it's coming over the internet like that, then I need to work on that. Something I'll deal with later and fix it. But it's really good, folks, to try to play as clean tone as you can with just a hint of overdrive, kind of like AC/DC, right? Or some of the Stevie Ray Vaughan tones, for instance. So let's go ahead and keep rolling here and get into our beginning blues guitar. So I did promise everybody that we're going to be starting out today really simple. So I don't want to scare everyone away with too much intense guitar playing stuff. All right, so let's just kick back here. And then first off, we're going to look at example 1 for a little bit tonight. And it's the 12-bar form laid out in the simplest form. And we're doing it in the key of A. So I've got the 3 chords for that written right up top here as little chord blocks. You can see those. Okay. And let me do this. I'm going to even clean up my sound a little bit better, give a better guitar tone here with no overdrive. Turn off the wacky delay. Turn off the wacky chorus. We're just going to get a pure, clean little guitar signal. Okay. And then I know there's a lot of people piping in, so I'm trying to catch an eye on what everyone's saying. Oh, wow, Danny, the link's not normal blue. Bummer. I will need to look into that and make sure that the ones for week 2 through 7 are as well blue. I don't set those up. One of the IT guys on Guitar Tricks does that. So I will double check that. And then, sorry about that. Make sure that it's fixed for next time. Okay, and let me scroll down here. Okay, good. The sound's cleared up. I'm not getting any sound or pictures. Trailman. Yeah, I'm not sure because everybody else is Trailman. They seem to hear me and they're getting the video and the sound. Okay, so yeah, if I use the lead pickup, it's a little brighter sound. When I did this solo, I had both pickups on. Sounds a little more kind of like a bell. And on the front pickup, it's kind of bassy. Okay. Okay. All right, Andres is giving a tip for everybody that's having a hard time getting the tabs. He says if you copy the link to the tabs and paste it on a new browser window, you will see it. All right, Andres, cool, appreciate it. Okay, so let's go over the 3 chords. If we're doing a blues in the key of A, and I also did this for everybody too, is next to each chord, I put in parentheses the numeric position that the chord holds in the given key. So the first chord we always play in the blues is called the 1 chord. That's also the key we're in, okay? And we use Roman numerals for those numbers. So I chord, it means 1 chord. The D chord is the 4 chord. I'll go over that in a minute. And then the E chord is the 5 chord. So I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with the term a 1-4-5 chord progression. That's used a lot in rock and roll, even when it's not blues, because you don't necessarily need to play the 1-4-5 in the order of the 12-bar blues. A lot of songs might play the 5-4-1-5, okay? Or 5-4-5-1, all kinds of different mix-ups, or maybe 4-1-4-5 back to 1. You can mix them up in different ways and come up with a lot of different songs. So in the blues, though, we start with the 1 chord, and on the simplest form, without getting fancy with a quick change, you'll play the first chord for 4 bars. Okay, so the first chord is A7, and I've got a little finger diagram up top. You can look at that, or if you're good with tablature, you can look at the tablature. What I'm doing is using my 2nd and 3rd fingers on strings 4 at the 2nd fret with my middle finger, and string 2 at the 2nd fret with my 3rd finger. Okay. You want to make sure that all the other strings ring open nice and clear. So you need to stand your fingers on the tippy tips and not let them lean down and touch the 3rd string and the 1st string. Make sure they're on the tippy tips. It's kind of like each finger is walking on a tightrope. You really got to be straight up and not leaning down. And on the A7, we don't play the 6th string, so try not to hit your 6th string. Make sure that sounds good. I like using fingers 2 and 3. You're more than welcome to use fingers 1 and 2 if you like, but I think 2 and 3 works good for us. Okay, and then that's the 1 chord, and we're going to make all of them dominant 7th chords or just 7th chords. Okay, don't worry about what the 7 means right now. We'll talk about that later. Okay, the 2nd chord we're going to work on, it's actually the 4 chord in the key we're in, but it's the 2nd chord we play in the song, is a D7. Just really simple. We're on the, kind of move your 2nd and 3rd finger from the A7 and this is a good idea, folks, always look for shortcuts when you're switching chords. If there's a finger or fingers that don't need to move, then don't take them off if you're just going to put it right back where it was, because you're sort of wasting time. So try to keep your fingers in place, okay? And then for the D7, the shortcut I see is just move each finger down one string. So now your middle finger's on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. First ring finger's on the 1st string, 2nd fret. Okay, we're not done yet. Then we're going to put the 1st finger on the 2nd string, 2nd string, 1st fret. Okay, and you got your D7. And then these chords are very common in folk guitar music and country music too. They use a lot of 7th chords. Okay, make sure that sounds good. And notice on the D7, if you're looking at your chord diagrams, I know most of us already know this, but the little X's and O's right up in there, right over the top, the nut, which is that thick black line. X means you don't play that string. Don't strum it with the pick. Don't put a finger on it. And a little O over the string means it's played open. So look at your D chord. Notice that the 2 bass strings, 6 and 5, have X's on them. Don't play those. Just play the bottom 4 strings. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, make sure that sounds good. Okay, now let's work through the E7 chord. Okay, from your D7, there's really no shortcut fingers. You just got to move everything. So what you're going to do is move your 1st finger up to the 3rd string, 1st fret, and then we'll put the middle finger on the 5th string, 2nd fret. So you just have 2 fingers there, okay? And then we can play all the strings. There's no X's over this. Okay? Make sure they all sound really good, okay? Make sure everything rings. And notice I'm always keeping my fingers on the tippy tips. See how angled my fingers are when I do the E7 and the A7. See how straight up that last knuckle that has the fingernail on it. Oh, and by the way, too, you might need to keep your fingernails real short on the left hand, because if they're a little longer and they get in the way, that's what the old fingernail clippers are for. I got them right there because right now I can see that mine are getting a little long where they start to touch maybe the fretboard or the other string. Not good. So keep your fingers on the tippy tip. Keep the fingernails short. Here's your A7 for the D7. I just move it down, add my 1st finger. Okay. And then the E7, I move up to this. And then we could come full circle back to your A7. Okay. So just try to get a good sound with that. That's your first step. And if you're a beginner, you want to just be able to make sure the chords sound good initially before you try to play a song or hook them together. Okay, so let's assume we got that down. You can practice it. Obviously, we'll have to spend a lot of time on that, or some time. Okay, now the strum. Let me give you guys a basic strum there. If you look, the downstroke symbol looks like that open, where is it? Right there. Looks like an open staple or a square without the bottom line on it. And the upstroke symbol is the V. Okay, so if you're looking at the A7 in bar 1, okay, it's going down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Really simple, okay? Just basic stuff. And of course, we want to have a shuffle feel too. Remember, in the last 3 weeks when I was doing the Texas blues with everybody, we were talking a lot about the shuffle feel. That's really important in the blues. Some blues songs don't have a shuffle. They have a straight feel, but most blues does have a shuffle. So you want to have this sound, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? Not that's good for rock and roll and country music, but for the blues, we want this. Okay, let me take a time out for 1 sec. I see some of the comments. Danny says he's got the tabs because he followed Andre's tip. Thank you, Andres. Mark B saying still looking for the link. I see 8. Yeah, it's the curriculum. It probably says something to the effect of download the curriculum for tonight's lesson. Okay, and then John Gielan says also he followed Andre's advice and he got it. So there you go. So Mark, just keep looking for it. It's underneath the video. One of those blue links should say something to the effect of the curriculum for tonight. I know some of the other links that are there are for guitar tricks lessons related to what we're doing tonight. Okay? So keep looking for it there, Mark. All right. So what we want to do is that strum pattern for 4 bars. So you notice the first bar, I've got the strum written, and then bar 2, it doesn't have the strum, but it's the same tablature and the same kind of rhythms up here. But up top, it says simile rhythm, okay, or simile strum. So simile means just repeat it in a like manner. So we want to do the same exact strum for 4 bars. I know it's kind of monotonous, but it's going to sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Again. Here you go. That was 4 bars. Okay, you're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 4 times. Now notice I left the last down strum on beat 4, just a down without an up, because we're leaving off the up. That's going to give you a little more window of time to quickly switch your fingers to the next chord without stopping the beat. Okay, David's saying the shuffle strum, triplets with the middle note missing. Still the only thing that makes sense to me. Right on, David. Yeah, so the shuffle strum, if you think about it, the down strums are a little longer held, and then the ups are real quick back into a down. So it's not down, up, but down, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's real important to get that locked in. You don't want to do it backwards where your up is longer, because then it starts to sound not correct. So make sure your downs are longer and your ups are a little shorter. Okay, then we jump down into bar 5 and we go to the D7. We're going to do how many bars of that? Well, the music says 2, shows 2 bars, and then we go back to A7 for 2 bars. So we're now, the top line is real easy. It's just A7 for 4 bars. Second line is 2 bars of the D7, 2 bars of the A7. Okay, so this is going to sound like this. Same strum. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then back to A7. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, notice how I switch without breaking the beat. We don't want to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. See that gap? You got to be able to switch your chords quick. So another way you can practice your chords is just practice moving them back and forth. Just get the muscle memory down, because part of getting good on guitar is memorizing songs and memorizing everything you're doing. What can help your brain remember all that stuff is the muscle memory. Everyone's heard that term before, right? How do you develop the muscle memory? Well, you got to practice. You got to do it a lot. You got to repetitively practice the same things over and over, and take breaks too, but come back and repeat them many more times. As after a while, your muscles will start to feel the move they need to do. So maybe instead of moving just one finger at a time, you start to try to move slowly 2 fingers at a time, or all of them at a time. Okay. You can even just see what I'm doing right here is just moving them back and forth from A7 to D7. Maybe give each one down strum, okay? And try to be able to switch and immediately strum so you get that. You're checking to make sure all the notes sound good, because if we're not strumming, that's okay to practice them back and forth, but we don't know if the fingers are touching another string or if they're not held down properly. We also don't want to press too lightly, where you get that kind of buzzy sound, okay? And conversely, folks, you don't want to press too hard, because if you press too hard, look what happens. Listen what happens. What happened there? I'm not bending the string up or down. I'm pushing hard into the fretboard. You actually, folks, if you press too hard, you're going to press your notes out of tune. All right. We don't want to press out of tune because it doesn't sound good. Okay. We spend all this time tuning our guitars and buying the nice tuners to get in tune. So we don't want to ruin the nice tuning we have by pressing too hard. So how do you get that? You got to find the sweet spot where you're pressing just hard enough to get it to sound good, but not too hard. Okay. How do you get there? You just got to practice it and do it a lot of times. Okay. Guitar playing's fun and it comes along. If you do the right way to practice, you can get good pretty quick. But a lot of folks don't know the right way to practice and they tend to only do things a little bit and get bored and move on. You're not, if you do that, you're never going to get it down, or it's going to take a long time. Okay. But spending little concentrated amounts of time, like 10 or 15 minutes on just working on these chords. Okay. And getting it down. It's like riding a bike. Once you get the hang of it, it's easy. You just hop on again. If you don't ride a bike for 2 or 3 years, you might get on after a few years and feel a little wobbly for about a few seconds, and then it comes right back. Okay. Oh, Kurt. All right. Yeah, unrelated. You like that Eddie Van Halen photo? It's a great one. Ed's the man for sure. All right, cool. Okay, so practice your chords, folks, back and forth. Okay, now let's go down and take a look at the bottom line. Okay, the third staff line down, beep, 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 in example 1. Now this one's getting pretty busy, everybody. We got 1 bar of E7, 1 bar of D7. We're going to have to switch every bar of A7, and then back to E7. Okay, so let's take that slow. Sounds like this. 2, 3, 4, D7. 1, 2, 3, 4, A7. 2, 3, 4, E7. And you see how I was switching without breaking the beat. Another good tip for everybody when you're practicing, and I'm saying this because like almost everybody I work with, all my students tend to try to play things too fast when they're not ready to play it fast. The secret with getting good, there's a lot of secrets, but another one of them is to practice it slowly and get it right slowly, even if the song's a lot faster. If you can't do it correctly slowly, it's not going to magically come together at full speed or a little bit faster. So just do it slow. It's humbling, but I'm only saying this, folks, because when I'm giving you guys these tips, they work for me and they work for a lot of my buddies that play guitar and other instruments, even drummers. Some of my friends that teach drums and are drummers in bands, they say they learn something, they learn it slow first. Okay. Like paradiddles, you know how paradiddles are going, what is it? Like right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. That kind of beat. When I was, one of my buddies told me that and showed me it. And I thought that might be a cool thing to tap on guitar because I like doing a lot of tapping. But at first I couldn't even do it and get it down. It took me a long time. And just doing it slow and a lot of times. Like when I'm sitting in the car as a passenger and I'm not driving or I've got idle time, sometimes I'll just bang out those on my leg and get a little practice in right there. So you got to start out slow to get the hang of this stuff, and then you can speed it up. Okay, so take the bottom line again, and this would be bars 9, 10, 11, and 12. We're going to go 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And then let's take a look at this, folks. What is this symbol right over here at the end? It's a repeat sign. It means we're going to go back to the beginning where the previous repeat sign was at the beginning. See that? And we're going to do the whole thing again. Okay. Now, the blues, and my little subtitle up here, it says 12-bar blues rhythms with open chords and Chuck Berry style. All right, example 2 is going to be the Chuck Berry style. We're going to look at that in a few minutes. But the common thread with these songs, even like Chuck Berry's Johnny B. Good, for instance, or Stormy Monday, or any other 12-bar blues song, it's got 12 bars, 12 measures. A measure and a bar is the same thing. And how do you know what that is in your music? Well, a bar, typically the blues is in 4/4 or 12/8 time, which 12/8, you can essentially feel 4 solid beats in the song. Cool. The Action Stack saying great beginner lessons, Dave. You're very welcome. Cool. Yeah, sometimes we got to bring it down and cover, because there's a lot of beginners, and I've got a lot of students that are on that beginning level. And I've also got a lot of students that are more intermediate and a few that are very advanced. So I like working with everybody, helping everybody out. So tonight and the next couple of weeks, we're just going to take it slow and not all do this crazy intense stuff, but just going over a lot of the basics, because that's another thing too. I noticed a lot of people, a lot of students tend to skip the basics because they just want to play Metallica, and all they're going to do is work on Fade to Black. Well, that's cool. I mean, heck, I started out that way too, wanting to just do a few of my favorite songs. But after a while, it's like, that's not really helping me get much better. I mean, I can play a few songs, okay, but there's a lot more here. So if you go over the basics, folks, it's really going to give you a good foundation. You think about, if you're building a house, you don't want to build it on sand. You want to build it on a solid foundation. Okay. Same thing also too, folks. If you want to get good, it's like if you're going to study karate, are you going to watch karate videos on YouTube and get good? It's probably not going to happen. If you really want to get good, you got to join a dojo, a karate studio, a kung fu studio, or jujitsu, whatever, and take from a sensei, someone that knows the path ahead of you, that's been there, that can show you the way to go. Okay. And they can hold your hand, not literally hold your hand, but help you guide you through. Okay. So Andres, what's happening there? Andres saying, Dave, could you play the whole example 1 complete with no interruptions? And I'm especially interested in that the 3rd row. Yep. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that, Andre. Let's go ahead. Good point there, buddy. Okay, so let me go ahead and play all 12 bars of example 1, and I'm going to run through it one time, and then when you're done with your E7, go back to the A7 and play it once just to end it. It's always good to end every song, or most songs, on whatever the first chord was. It gives us a sense of resolve. Okay, so we're going to go like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Second bar. 3rd bar. One more. Now we go back to A7, bar 7, and bar 8. E7's bar 9. And back to the top. And you can even hear, we're going to get into some neat stuff in the next few weeks where when we get to those last 4 bars, we're going to learn some turnarounds. Okay, so you would go, for instance, from the E7. Okay. Okay. Now, for instance, folks, these chords are real basic, and you can do them on acoustic guitar. They should be there's kind of like beginner level open chords for acoustic players and electric players. But once you get them down, those three chords, A7, D7, E7, there's a lot of other ways you can play them on a fretboard too. If you're getting into your bar chords, try to play them as bar chords. A7 at the 5th fret, even though it's not on the page there. Okay. And then D7, well, the A7, I'm barring the 5th fret and then got my two fingers making an E7 shape that we learned a minute ago back here. We did them with the first and second fingers. Now what we're doing with bar chords, your first finger becomes like a human capo, and then we play the E7 shape on top of it, okay? And then that makes it the 5th fret, the lowest note of all these chords is also the name of it, okay? So the 5th fret on the 6th string is A, so there's your A7. Listen how this one sounds. But I got that extra high note. It's exactly the same notes as, but without the high note. You hear those 5 strings? They're exactly those 5, just in a different spot in the guitar. Pretty cool. That's one of the neat things about guitar, is that there's a lot of different ways, different places to play the exact same thing. Okay, it's daunting in some respects, because like on piano, there's only one way with these exact notes to play those exact notes on the piano. It's only one spot. If you go up or down the keyboard, you're actually playing them in a higher position, a higher inversion, okay? Or a different inversion, a different position, a different order of the same notes. But here, we're actually playing the same notes. Hear that? And we'll do the same thing for the D7. Those 4 notes, if you move your bar chord down a string and then bar just the top 5 strings, not the 6, and then put your ring finger on string 4 at the 7th fret, pinky on the string 2 at the 7th. See, that's your A7 shape like we're doing back here. But when we do the human finger capo, we got to play those that little 2-note shape with the ring and pinky finger. And the root note's the lowest note, the 5th fret on the 6th string is your D note, okay? Now listen to this. The 4 middle strings are exactly, hear that? It's pretty cool. And I can help you folks too. If you got any questions, I do lessons, live online lessons. I got a lot of students. You can reach me if you go to my website, davecelentano.com. You can email me there or check out, there's a link to book lessons with me. Or if you're a Guitar Tricks member, you can still do that, or you can reach me on Guitar Tricks in the forum. All of us instructors have a little way to contact us. And you feel free to write me there and reach out to me there. And you can just book a lesson with me directly through Guitar Tricks on their homepage. Okay. So what you can do with the bar chords, folks, I want to get into this so that we can get to example 2, the Chuck Berry or the more rock and roll version of this blues, is you got your A7 there, your D7 here, and in the E7, we're just going to move the D7 shape up 2 frets to the 7th fret. So you could do this. 2nd bar, 3rd bar, 4th bar. Now bar 5, I switch to D. Back to A7 for bar 7, 8. 2, 3, and then E7 for bar 9. D7, A7, and then back to the 5 chord. Okay, I know it's pretty boring stuff, and there's a lot of ways you can fancy up your strumming too. Instead of just doing the basic strums, you can pick them out like. See, as long as you're holding the chord, you can arpeggiate or pick out notes of the chord individually, but you need to make sure you're doing it in time. Always have it be in time with the beat. Okay. Andre's saying 100% looking forward to learning those turnarounds. Cool. They're like bridges connecting it all together. Exactly, Andres. Yep. And I forgot which week we're going to do that, but just if you come to all 7 of these, Andres, we'll get into that. And the action stack saying, Dave, what thickness of pick do you use for this type of playing? I use like a medium. I'm using these Dava ones. This one's a red one. I got, the bright yellow ones, but they're all generally the same thickness. I would say it's like a medium to slightly heavy pick. And I don't hold it really hard with the death grip, because also too, folks, when you're playing, don't hold the pick, like I was mentioning too, you don't overpress, because then you're going to press your notes out of tune. Don't grip your pick with the death, because then it sounds really raspy. Okay, I hold it just light enough to keep it in my fingers. And I very softly strum it. If I want to get louder, I just dig in a little bit. Yep. Cool, Glenn. Yep. The picks, I like these because the back end of it's got that black rubber and it helps me grip them. Because sometimes when I use like other picks that don't have that, they start to spin in my fingers. Because I do hold it with a relatively lighter grip on some stuff. So when I do that, it tends to start spinning, or it even falls out. So this really helps me just keep a grip on it. Okay. So I hope that gives everyone some good meat, some good substance to work on. Okay. Get your foundation, your 12 bars, and it's the same pattern. You just repeat that for the whole song. What makes it interesting is when you start playing stuff over that. So let's go on to example 2 here. Let me switch up the sound back to that. I'm using a Blues Junior amp here. Does that sound like someone said it was a tuba underwater or playing through a pea pipe? Hopefully it. Cool. All right, so check this out. So once you know the basics, folks, when you solo over those chords, you kind of want to follow them, not just play pentatonic stuff in regardless to the chords, but try to follow. Start doing some bluesy stuff with the boxes. Okay. So we're going to get into all that stuff too. Hey, Jamie. Hello. And Wisdom saying, my first day here. Well, welcome in, Wisdom. Cool to see you. Appreciate it, Jamie. Yeah, stick with us. We got 6 more weeks of this stuff coming. Okay, so got a little more of a rock and roll sound. Slightly, just a little bit overdrive. Let me actually put that on pause there. And got my back pickup on the bridge position. Okay, so example 2 is kind of like a Chuck Berry rhythm, but a lot of Chuck songs are in a straight feel. We're not going to do that. We're still going to maintain the shuffle. Now on this one, you just need one finger. Hold the 2nd fret on string 4. And if you look at the strokes, the pick strokes here, everybody, it's 8 down strokes. And in the tablature, looks like we're going to hit just the 5th and 4th string twice, holding that 1st finger there. And then on the 2nd beat, we put the 3rd finger down on the 4th fret, string 4, 2 down strokes on that. Same 5th string open and the 4th string. Okay. And then we go back to the 1st finger on the 2nd fret, and then back to the 3rd finger on the 4th fret. So we're going to do this. Okay, just really basic stuff. 2 times with the 1st finger, 2 times with the 3rd, and always hitting the open 5th string. And it sounds kind of neat too, maybe a little palm mute. That kind of sound, or no palm mute, still sounds good. Okay, and then then check out what I did here, folks. Example 1 is the basic, easiest, simple 12-bar form. Example 2, we're going to do one little change up. In bar 2, we switch to the D chord or the 4 chord, and we call that the quick change. I believe, yeah, it says right above the D chord. Notice it says quick change. This is one of the most common alterations of the blues that we'll hear is on the second bar, they go to the D chord, if we're in the key of A, for one bar, and then back to A for bar 3 and 4 to finish it up. Okay? So we got the A going for one bar. Quick down, just drop everything down a string. It's the same exact thing. We just move everything down to the floor one string. The tablature moves it up a string, okay? But now we're on the open 4th string and holding the 3rd string 2nd fret and then the 3rd string 4th fret. Okay, that kind of sound. And then we go back to A for 2 bars. So let's try that real briefly. The top line, for example 2, we're going to go A, D, A, A. Or in other words, numerically, it's the 1 chord, quick change to the 4 chord, and then back to the 1. And let me show you this too while we're here and talking about this whole 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord. You can do this on your fingers, folks. The 1 chord's always the first chord and the first, the root note of the key you're in. The 4 chord just means it's based off the 4th letter up from that 1 chord. So if you're on A, just go alphabetically up from A 4 notes, 4 letters. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4. That D note, we're going to build a D7 chord off of it. That becomes the 4th chord. And then the 5 chord is, well, if D is the 4, E would be the 5. And you can do your fingers on this, everybody. For most keys, you know, like another common key in blues is the key of E, key of G, and the key of C. Well, watch. If we do the key of E, the 1 chord would be E. F is 2. G is 3. And then after G in music, we always go back to the A. A would be number 4. So there in the key of E, E is the 1 chord, A is the 4 chord, and after A was B, B is the 5 chord. Here's another one for you. In the key of C. Hey, Vinny Roth, what's happening? All right. Now, Vinny is a scary guitar player, everybody. You might, if you're into checking out some intense players, I know he's got some stuff around floating on the internet. Good to see you, Vinny. So the key of C real quick, folks, and then we'll finish up example 2. Key of C, you'd start with the C note, and then alphabetically, C, D, E. F is number 4. So F is the 4 chord in the key of C. And then after F is G. G is the 5 chord. So the key of C is C chord, F chord, and G chord. And if you make them all 7th chords like we did today, you're going to be well on your way to playing the blues. We'll get into more of that stuff later, okay? So I just played you the top 4 line or top 4 bars. Then let's, at the bottom line, let's check that out. It's 2 times on the 4 chord and then 2 bars on the 1 chord, back to that. So now we're down to this. It also sounds kind of cool too to make like a little stop. And how I stop it is I release my finger pressure just a little bit and also touch the strings with my right hand to stop it. See what's going on? Okay, or you can not do that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we go back to the A for 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then let's flip the page, everybody. Top of page 2, there's not much there. It's just the last 4 bars. Just like we did in example 1, we're going to do 1 bar of the E chord, 1 bar of the D, 1 bar of the A, and then back to the E for the ending of it. Okay, so we got the E chord. You'll just move everything up a string from the A. which will be on the 2nd fret 5th string, and also hitting the open 6th string. And then add your 3rd finger to the 4th fret 5th string with the open 6th string with it. So we're going to go. Then you make a big jump. You got to, this is kind of tricky for some because you have to skip down 2 sets of strings to strings 4 and 3. Okay, so you're going to go E, D, A. And then on the E at the end, notice that we don't go to the 4th fret. I'm just going to hit my, use my 1st finger and just keep the same rhythm, but don't add your 3rd finger. Okay, so that whole top line on page 2, the last 4 bars, bar 9 through 12, goes 3, 4. And then always when you're done, if you're not going to repeat it, just go back to the 1 chord and hit it once, and then you got a good resolve. But you'll notice there is a repeat sign. So let's go ahead. I'm going to play that whole example. I'm going to do it twice through for everybody this time. I think Andres was asking me to play the first example all the way through. So I'll do that again here. Thanks, Vinny. Appreciate it. And then, what is that? Itis Rael from Cleveland checking in. Cool, Richard. What is a good speed to reach before you move on? Well, that's a good point. Let me just fire up the metronome here and we'll find out. Richard, good darn question. Okay, so what we were just doing was something like dun, 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 dun. I just tapped my... So this is about 50. Let me just... 3, 4. So you're going to go... start like that, about that tempo, Richard. Anything slower than 50, maybe 45, but anything slower than that, it just gets almost too slow. So really just try to work with your chops and get your fingers to be able to play it at least around 50-ish, 45, 50. And then make sure that the first down of every 2 notes is always on the click. 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and Notice I played right with the click. I wasn't going faster or slower. So if you're not good with keeping in time, playing with the metronome, and Guitar Tricks has one on their website. There's some floating around on the internet. You can download free metronome apps, okay? Let me share this with everybody too. On our Guitar Tricks site, there's a beginning, it's called Blues Style Level 1, which is great for people starting out playing the blues. It's going to show you all the stuff I just mentioned, I went over, plus a whole bunch of other stuff. So let me give this one in the comment bar there. Okay. And if you're a Guitar Tricks member and you're logged into the site, you can click that. It'll take you right to that. We got the instructor that teaches that course, and it's kind of a good, solid, in-depth one too. It's kind of long. His name's Anders. He's a great guitar player. Does some really good blues stuff. In fact, there's a lesson on BB King Thrill Is Gone on the Guitar Tricks site that I do with a lot of my students because it's a great tune. It's a slow blues, and it just sounds good. Okay, so we got that cooking on there. Let me go ahead and play example 2. I'm going to go a little bit quicker, but still with the shuffle feel, and then we'll start wrapping it up. Okay, so here we go. Oh, cool, Mark. Good deal. Yeah, Mark says, if you're not a member, become one. Best deal on the net. Right on. Appreciate it, Mark. Yeah, Guitar Tricks is for my money. You know, if I wasn't an instructor, what I've seen on that site compared to what I see on other sites, Guitar Tricks is pretty solid. A lot of lessons, and we offer live lessons too, live coaching to help students that can't figure things out and need a helping hand. In fact, it's always good, everybody, even if you're not into taking lessons and trying to do it on your own, occasionally book a lesson with one of our instructors, and I'm one of them, because it's good to have someone you can play and bounce some ideas, see what you're doing and get feedback. Because a lot of times you might not know if you're doing it right or wrong. Okay, so that's something real important. We want to know that we're doing it right, and if we're not, to correct it. The action stack saying the 2 starting fundamental videos in Guitar Tricks is awesome. Yep, exactly. We got also in Guitar Tricks Fundamentals Level 1 and 2. That's for Fundamentals Level 1 is for someone that absolutely doesn't know anything about guitar. You just got a guitar for the holidays or your birthday or your bonus from work, and you've never played before and you want to. That's where you want to start, Fundamentals 1. You definitely don't want to skip that and go on, because Fundamentals 1 shows you everything, the names of the strings, how to tune it, how to play simple chords. Start with easy chords. Don't do bar chords at the beginning. Start with the easy stuff, easy strums to start you off, and you got to build it like that. Cool. All right, so here's example 2, everybody. Play it 2 times through a little quicker, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. One more time. All right, folks, so that's example 2, and we're going to start wrapping it up. Yep, let me just close out. I'll play a little, this time I'll just play a little blues stuff without the backing track and just kind of go for that. Let me try this. I'll play the backing track actually, but I'm going to turn that guy way down. Okay, just so I can hear something. And you guys will just hear my soloing. I'm going to play in the key of G, all right? And this is actually the first solo here is from one of my songs on my Guitar Stew CD called Sunny Day Blues. Okay, here we go. All right. Well, I normally don't play the backing tracks over when I'm doing the lessons like this. So if it sounds kind of mushy, I'll see if I can work on that. But if it doesn't sound too good on your end, folks, I'll just play the stuff without the backing track. You still hear the blues licks and whatnot. Let me go ahead and just read these real quick. I know we're wrapping it up here. Yep, Andre's saying the turnaround is the bow on the Christmas gifts. Right on, Andre. Exactly right. Cool. All right, Glenn. Awesome. Yep. Vinny Roth. All right. Yeah, thanks, Dave. Your lessons and playing are always inspiring. Yeah, thanks, Vinny. Likewise. You're awesome. A scary player you are. Edgar saying, hey, sound like a wah-wah in reverse. Yeah, I think it's when there's too much going over the microphone I got plus my guitar and then the backing track. It just kind of compresses it and gives it a warbly sound. If you could create a tone print for that effect, you could sell it. Right on. Edgar, no, it's not your connection. See, if I play that stuff without the backing track. Probably sounds a little cleaner that way without the backing track cranking up. Yeah, Zane. All right. Appreciate it. Yep. We'll see you next week. And then Wisdom's saying, cool. Yep. Wisdom, stick with guitar tricks. We'll help you get there. And then the Action Stack saying, I've been playing on and off for 40 years. The two fundamentals in Rock 1 took me 6 months at 2 hours a day. My improvement has been huge. That's fantastic to hear, Action Stack. Cool. All right, Edgar, cool. There you go. Yep. Yeah, I think what I'll do next time, folks, I have no problem just playing by myself, but to play over a backing track is a really good way to hear like a band. But if it's not really working over the internet, I have no problem with just playing solo. That way you guys can hear all my mistakes. All right, everyone have a great night. I'll see you next Wednesday. We're going to go for Beginning Blues Guitar Week 2. We're going to kind of build upon this and then just go deeper in. We're going to be covering turnaround licks in the next few weeks, the blues boxes, the B.B. King blues box, the Albert King blues box, and some solo work and some nice blues rhythms with riffs. Got a lot of fun stuff coming down the pipeline. All right. Everyone have a great night. We'll see you next Wednesday. Be safe. Keep practicing, man. Try to do a little bit every day if you can. It's better every day a little bit than 5 hours on Saturday. Okay? There you go. All right. See you next week, everyone. Keep your fingers flying. See ya. Bye.